Hello, my name is Joseph. I am on Twitter at Canada Basic. forthefuture.ca is my website. A hashtag Team GLBI. And I am here to discuss guaranteed livable basic income and the repercussions of the April 7th budget coming up. Today's show is brought to you with Canadians with Disabilities and their Allies, which is a show hosted by Brent the Weatherman regarding persons with disabilities, their allies, and how it is affected in Canada. Guaranteed livable basic income, by its definition, is a guarantee of a livable income. It is not a guarantee of a full source of income, and what basic income is about is giving people the choice of where they can rent, how much food they can consume, and medications and other supports that are not just easily given by provincial supports. Our provinces are severely outdated in regards to inflation, and guaranteed livable basic income formula that For the Future advocates for is one that was done by the Parliamentary Budget Officer in April of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was asked by Senator Paul Wu if guaranteed livable basic income would be possible in 3 different scenarios. The 3 scenarios were: Scenario 1, a 50% means testing rate, meaning for every dollar that you would earn on a taxable income, you would lose 50 cents of the basic income. For Scenario 2, it would be 25%. And for Scenario 3, it would be 15%. As these percentages go down, the population of Canada goes up, because when it lowers slower, it helps more people keep more dollars in their pocket while working or receiving taxable income. It is designed through a regional process for cost of living, and the rates would reflect the region. Now, for 2022 national average rates, it would be $19,043 a year for a single individual, $26,931 for a household. This would represent people that were between the ages of 17 and 64, and would represent those that are also disabled with a $6,000 a year additional benefit that would not be means tested, meaning that as people with disabilities or their spouses worked, the $6,000 benefit would not be clawed back. This, I believe, is a greater advantage over the Canada Disability Benefit, which would be means tested in its entirety.
That's why Brent calls you the numbers guy, because you're always full of stats, so that's good.
Persons with disabilities, their spouse, and both of them are disabled by definition of the DTC. For the 2 of them, if they're both disabled, $32,000 a year.
That's a big difference. So you're saying that in the different scenarios, you have the guaranteed livable basic income. Some of it for people that aren't disabled, some of it is means tested, and only the ones that are disabled aren't means tested. Is that correct?
Okay, so everybody is means tested, okay, on the basic benefit. But on the person with disabilities, their $6,000 would not be means tested as long as the earned income is below the maximum threshold.
But so it's just the $6,000 and then the rest of it is means?
Yeah, it is means tested, the other part, right? Because the government has to keep it cost effective. They have to have it in a program where if a person with disabilities is sitting behind a computer earning $50,000 a year, they're at a higher advantage over a person with disabilities who's just sitting at home. So you have to have a fair program, but you have to have one with a better rate than 50%. You cannot lose 50 cents on the dollar anymore. It's just not cost effective for a person to justify going to work, especially if they have disabilities, and it costs them a lot more. What happens if they have to take a special cab to get there? What happens if they have to, have special accommodations for somebody to transport them to work? Or maybe they need additional help at work and additional supplies and accessibility tools and, a greater time to get there. So these rates need to change. And 75% of the poverty line, the low income measure, is what is used in the reports. And in 2022, the rates went up. They went up 3.8% for single individuals and 3.4% for households. And I will explain the reason why that the percentage is lower for households than of single individuals is because they're looking at when you have more than one person, you buy for more than one. You buy bulk, you buy you're sharing your utilities, you're sharing this and that, in essence, in the way that they figure it. Now, I am happy to say that if it is tied to inflation, the way that inflation is going, can you imagine what the next increase is going to be next year? Every time they don't start the guaranteed livable basic income since 2018, and we've known about it, every time they don't start it, it gets more expensive to start it. The numbers just keep going up because the population keeps going up because more people become poor. Under the basic income, your CPP survivors, that would be clawed back on a basic income at 100%. Same thing with EI, 100%. However, this is what I want to explain. Even though the CPP would be clawed back at 100%, you receive the CPP. Then it comes off your basic income. Instead of your CPP being redirected to your benefits or automatically clawed back every month. Your basic income would already be set up in a way, even the first year, that it would account for your CPP from last year. And then it would have your rate. So it's not like you're going to get full rate the first year and then drastically drop the second year, like what happens with a lot of these introduction to these programs. It would examine what you had last year for your income when you do your taxes. And you're walking into it knowing what your taxes are. You're able to predict what would change in July. It's not rocket science. It's just, are they actually willing to fund it?
Well, talking about that then, I mean, there's two things. We can talk about the April 7th budget coming up, but then also talking about a GLBI is you always wonder is if there was a change in government, a couple of years down the road,
would they be able to cancel the national GLBI?
Well, that's what I'd be wondering is would they be unrealistic
afterwards? They know that switching to a national GLBI, there is no going back from that. And I'm going to explain why. Most of the provincial assistance programs that are out there have people that participate in them, such as they collect their shelter, they collect their basic needs. They may have other kind of benefits that they have. They may have dental benefits, they may have prescription coverage, they may have accessibility means coverage. They may have special diets, or they may have caregiver benefits or other kind of tax benefits. With a GLBI, when you phase that in, the provincial government is then going to redraft their provincial program benefits for income assistance to be the emergency on-the-spot supports. All of the programs that they have currently right now for dental care, eyeglasses, prescriptions, accessibly needs, all those other secondary benefits, essential needs benefits. We'll go with both of those category names. They will still exist. The province is not going to give up the healthcare monopoly. So the programs are still going to exist, but the workload is going to severely drop.
Which is a positive.
Most people who are on these assistance programs and don't use any of those extra benefits may then choose to say, you know what, I don't need it. Maybe they already have their own dental coverage and their own prescription coverage from their spouse, but they're on assistance because they just needed the $700. How many people are on welfare simply only because they don't want to declare their spouse because they don't want to lose their benefits, but they have no money? How much fraud are we going to stop nationwide by having just a single program that everybody can either be eligible for or opt out? And then you can work on the national pharmacare and the national dental care and the national daycare and the national education and everything that this national government is coming up with, but they won't step in line and say you need to afford to live first.
So we were talking a little bit before the show, before it aired, on April 7th, the budget. What do you expect to be announced?
I expect that there is going to be an announcement somewhere along the lines of either a $250 or a $500 benefit going back out to people with the disability tax credit.
Yeah, like a one-time, right?
I believe they're going to announce another one-time payment to the disability tax credit, and they possibly may announce a 3-year program while they wait for the Canada Disability Benefit. There could possibly be a 3-year announcement for something, but it's going to be based off the disability tax credit again, because it's the only federally legislated program they can use to distribute it. Now, 1 million more people qualified for the disability tax credit last year. It used to be 300,000 and change, and now it's over 1.3 million.
Well, that's good, but it's still low.
And that was because of all the mass applications that happened when they handed out the first benefit. Did they cause attention to the disability tax credit in the first place, knowing they could use it as a 3-year vessel? Possibly. It would not surprise me at all.
Well, I know, Brent is always talking about, that they should announce an interim amount, while they wait to roll out the Canada Disability Benefit. And so that's why I'm wondering if the federal government's going to kind of roll out something similar to a GST rebate, maybe do it like 3 or 4 times a year.
No,
I'm not really sure.
Anything recurring. It's going to be like a one-time payment if they do anything. It's far too expensive for them to do recurring payments, and there would be more public discussion about it if that was going to come up. Current income assistance caseloads. The numbers so far that I've been able to find in open data sources, not including Saskatchewan, is 644,594 people in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
That is for income assistance. Disability income caseloads, 561,000. Only 5% of the Canadian population is on provincial assistance, either income assistance or disability assistance. Add in Canada Pension Plan disability benefits and add in EI, and you will only get 1 in 20 Canadians. A guaranteed livable basic income in the smallest scenario is 4 times the population. Guaranteed livable basic income is not just about welfare and disabled people. It's about working people as well, and making sure that everybody has a means to survive.